It would be nice to see LeBron James with Steph Curry. It would be nice.
It sounds like a pipe dream, but Lakers owner Jeanie just dropped a bombshell regarding secrets the franchise has kept under wraps. Behind the scenes, talks have been active, deals were on the table, and the reality of the situation is finally surfacing. A blockbuster trade capable of shaking the basketball world to its core is actually within reach. Here is the lowdown on the shocking reveal. Defying the odds and ignoring the skeptics who said it was a no-go, the fantasy of James teaming up with Curry is materializing. The Golden State Warriors have been chasing the king with a dogged, laser-focused intensity that just won't quit. We aren't dealing with hearsay or wild guesses here. This isn't just some baseless gossip circulating through the sports blogosphere without any legs to stand on. We are looking at verified reality, backed by numerous insiders who have monitored this saga from the jump to our current situation. The drama kicked off for real around February of 2024. The Warriors launched a bold, though failed, offensive to land LeBron before the deadline. It wasn't just a polite check-in or a casual tire-kicking session. This was a legitimate, all-hands-on-deck push, driven by the franchise's top brass and most influential power brokers. Draymond Green, the vocal heartbeat of that Warriors dynasty, had been championing this move for a while. He realized that their window to grab another ring was getting slimmer with every passing year. Once the timing aligned and the situation called for a big swing, Warriors owner Joe Lacob made a massive play. He reached out personally to Jeanie to see if LeBron's public venting meant a league-shattering trade was actually on the table. The blueprint was obvious, and the goal was huge. They wanted to pair James with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, banking on his elite production to reignite their fading dynasty and bring the trophy back to the Bay for one last glory run. However, that first swing missed. Buss pointed them to Rich Paul, LeBron's heavyweight agent, who made it clear James wasn't looking to bail on Los Angeles right then. Lakers GM Rob Pelinka told his counterpart Mike Dunleavy Jr. the same thing. They were fully committed to their superstar and weren't trading the GOAT under any circumstances. Here is where the narrative gets spicy and hard to ignore, even if logic tells us to pump the brakes. The Warriors refused to pack it in. They didn't let the dream die. They didn't take that initial no as the gospel truth or the end of the road. For the next 18 months, they kept ringing the Lakers' phone, looking for any crack in the door while trying to construct a contender around Steph. Come August of 2025, reporter Jake Fisher noted that Golden State's front office was still obsessed with the idea, seeing a Curry-James duo as the ultimate ticket to ring number 5 and a way to cement their legacy forever. By November 2025, fresh reports confirmed the Warriors' interest was still very real, even if James claimed he was content in Southern California. In December 2025, a trade scenario floated by Yahoo Sports envisioned James heading north in exchange for assets that could help the Lakers rebuild and stack the deck for the future. Fast forward to January 2026, and the Warriors have pivoted their strategy toward the offseason when LeBron hits unrestricted free agency on June 30th. Sources say they plan to try and sign him outright, possibly on a discount, to team him up with Curry for a final championship push that would rewrite the history books. To really get why this is suddenly so plausible, we have to look at the mess going on behind the scenes in Los Angeles. The dynamic between James and the Lakers organization has been way rockier and more stress-filled than the public ever realized.
You know, a story that got everybody's attention last week between the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, Golden State trying to acquire LeBron James. And how far did this go, and how much did you entertain that thought?
It didn't go far at all. You know, I actually heard about it when everybody else heard about it.
He admitted he found out when the rest of the world did. Did you catch that? Did the weight of that statement land with you? He learned about the Warriors trying to trade for him at the same time we did. Discussions were happening in secret, and he was left in the dark. That implies the front offices were engaging in back-channel talks that LeBron was completely shut out of until the headlines hit. The report also noted that Golden State launched an internal investigation to find the leaker because those talks were supposed to remain strictly confidential and hidden from the public eye. James isn't their only target, though. They want a star wing next to Steph for the upcoming season and are reportedly open to chasing Kevin Durant or Paul George if those guys look for a new home. Here's the detail that makes this whole saga so gripping and fascinating from every angle. During All-Star Weekend, LeBron dropped a comment that poured gasoline on the fire and got everyone thinking. He confessed that the one guy he wants to play with most is Steph Curry. Just sit with that for a second. The top scorer in league history, a champ in Cleveland, Miami, and LA, went on record picking Curry as his dream teammate. That is significant. That changes the whole game. Now, To understand why LeBron might actually bolt, we need to expose the years of internal friction within the Lakers franchise. A massive expose by ESPN's Baxter Holmes has revealed cracks in the foundation that have been deepening for seasons, exposing serious tension. Published in January 2026, the piece outlined the Buss family infighting that supposedly led to a staggering $10 billion sale of the franchise to Mark Walter. But the real kicker was the info about Jeanie Buss and LeBron, shaking up everyone's perception of the organization. Allegedly, Buss privately complained about James's massive ego and the heavy-handed influence Klutch Sports held over the team operations. Keep in mind, Klutch represents both LeBron and Anthony Davis, giving them a stranglehold on the front office that most agencies don't possess. It goes deeper. The report claimed Buss hated the narrative that James came in as a savior for a sinking ship back in 2018. That storyline really bothered her. She felt it minimized the front office's efforts and overshadowed the work they did to clear the deck for his arrival. We need to keep it real about the context here, because it is crucial to understanding the weight of these claims. Before LeBron touched down in LA, the Lakers had missed the playoffs for 6 years straight, the worst drought they'd ever seen. They were lost in the wilderness, miles away from their championship heritage. Then LeBron showed up, and by year 2, they were raising a banner in the bubble.
The Lakers are having a strong start to the season, sure. However, things off the court might not be as strong. In an article by Baxter Holmes published this week on ESPN.com, he detailed the feuding between the Buss family that may have led to the $10 billion sale of the team. The story also pointed out issues between Jeanie Buss and LeBron James.
Brian Windhorst, a heavyweight in NBA journalism, dropped some serious knowledge that really clarifies what is going on behind the scenes.
This is what they want to say. But the one thing that was this article, I believe, left out was that LeBron James was worth it. And that's what we really, really have to embrace here. The Lakers were nowhere. You were praying that LeBron James came to Tinseltown. And it is absolutely true that he was letting folks know he was coming to the Los Angeles Lakers, the year before he arrived. We all suspected it. Now, they wanted Magic Johnson's fingerprints on it. They wanted it to happen while Magic Johnson was there because they had an affinity for Magic Johnson, and they let it be known that, out of respect to him, they wanted him there when it happened, as opposed to somebody else getting some credit for his arrival.
Things went south fast after the Russell Westbrook trade in July 2021, a moment that marked the beginning of the darkest chapter in LeBron's tenure with the purple and gold. LeBron and Rich Paul pushed for that deal, and it backfired spectacularly. The team crashed and burned, finishing with a 33-49 record and missing the postseason entirely, their worst showing since 2017. Buss was reportedly livid, feeling that James refused to own up to the mistake and instead kept pointing fingers at everyone else for the team's struggles. To really grasp the magnitude of that failure, you have to look at the ransom the Lakers paid to get Westbrook. They shipped out Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and the number 22 pick. They essentially gutted the core depth that won them a ring in 2020. You lost KCP's lockdown perimeter defense, Kuzma's scoring versatility, and the spark plug energy Harrell brought off the bench.
It would be nice to see LeBron James with Steph Curry. It would be nice to see one of the top 3 players in the history of basketball playing with unquestionably the greatest shooter God has ever created. But allow me to say this, LeBron doesn't deserve it. Now, I know that's sacrilegious to say, I don't give a damn. I'm going to call it like I see it. He doesn't deserve it because of the mess that exists in LA, and it's primarily because of him.
It is a harsh take, but it matches the whispers that have been circulating inside the Lakers front office for years. Back in 2022, amid the Westbrook fallout, sources say Buss seriously thought about letting LeBron walk or even shipping him to the Clippers. Let that sink in. The Lakers actually contemplated trading their franchise face to their hallway rivals. That is how toxic the relationship had become. Then came the drama surrounding the 2024 draft and the selection of Bronny James. Reports suggest Buss felt LeBron should have been more thankful for the team drafting his son, but instead, she felt he took the gesture for granted. This was just the tip of the iceberg regarding frustrations over LeBron's influence on roster construction. She eventually gave him a 2-year, $104 million extension, but the word is she did it begrudgingly just to avoid a PR nightmare. That specific word tells you the marriage was already on the rocks. Now, Jeanie Buss is in damage control mode, trying to spin the narrative and calm the waters. Following the ESPN report, She told The Athletic it was unfair to drag LeBron into her family's legal battles or suggest she wasn't grateful for his contributions, calling the allegations completely false. LeBron handled the noise the way he always does, straightforward, blunt, and with zero fluff. After a loss to the Clippers in January 2026, he flatly stated, "Quite frankly, I don't really care how somebody feels about me." He pointed to the banner he hung in 2020 and emphasized that his focus is strictly on basketball. But we all know the truth. Actions carry more weight than quotes. The moves the Lakers have made show a broken organization that can no longer build a contender around an aging superstar or give him the support system he needs to win. So, what is the endgame? Does LeBron walk? Is there a world where we see him in a Warriors jersey catching passes from Steph Curry? We need to look at this realistically with clear eyes because the legacy implications here are massive for everyone involved.
I think LeBron's future is going to go one of three ways. One, he is going to leave in free agency and go somewhere, like Stephen A. said, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's another place. I think I agree. He can't go to any franchise for a number of different reasons. His standards, he's always going to keep his legacy in mind. He's not going to go to the Memphis Grizzlies. No offense. I'm not just singling them out, but that's the team he almost went to in 2003. That's why I say that's not going to happen. Okay. The second thing he can do is he can stay at the Lakers, but he's got to take a pay cut. When Rich Paul said on his podcast last week that when he talked about trading Austin Reeves, the reason he's saying that is because the Lakers currently spend $120 million on Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. All three of them are perimeter-based ball handlers who don't defend. You don't have to be Red Auerbach to know that ain't going to work, okay? So one of them is going to have to go away.
This brings up something LeBron has discussed many times. He has already beaten the odds and outlasted everyone's expectations.
I've beat the odds. I never put a ceiling. I never said how many years I want to play. I've already exceeded that, I guess. I mean, the life expectancy of an NBA player is definitely not 16 years.
Look at the rest of your draft.
Yeah, right. So I've never taken it for granted.
I know you've seen what I've seen, though, which is that some guys are going along fine, and then their game just falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that at all?
No, I don't. Because my game is so multi-dimensional that I can actually camouflage some parts of my game that can make a decline and actually still be productive, if that makes sense.
Then there is the romantic scenario that fans love to dream about, the return to Cleveland, the kid from Akron going home one last time.
My attitude is if you really, really want to win, how about going back to Cleveland? Now, I'm not one to advise people to leave places like L.A. and Miami for Cleveland. That is not what I do. But I'm thinking about basketball in this particular situation. And I'm like, could you imagine if you could keep a Mobley and you could keep a Donovan Mitchell and LeBron returned to Cleveland to end his career?
Rumor has it the Warriors are also eyeing Giannis Antetokounmpo to create a super team with Curry for a final dynasty run. Golden State is all in on winning while Steph is still elite, and they view LeBron as the ultimate piece that could solve their championship puzzle. Merging James's elite vision and scoring prowess with Curry's range could unleash an offensive juggernaut unlike anything the league has ever seen. It would inject serious experience into a squad that hasn't found its footing since grabbing that ring in 2022. Plus, it would let two titans of the game chase a final chip side by side, rather than battling each other as they ride off into the sunset. To really understand James's longevity, look at what he's done wearing the purple and gold. Across 8 seasons in Los Angeles, he's putting up 26.3 points, 7.8 boards, and 8 flat assists a night. He brought the Larry O'Brien Trophy back to Hollywood in 2020, finally snapping a 6-year postseason drought. In February 2023, he did the unthinkable by passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time scoring leader, a record people swore was untouchable. By March 2024, he shattered the 40,000-point barrier. Even now, at 41 years old during the 2025-2026 campaign, he's still dropping 22.4 points, 6 rebounds, and 6.7 dimes a game. The man is fighting off father time like some kind of superhero, but his impact goes way beyond the box score or the jewelry. He stands alone in history as the only player with 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists to his name. The King has secured 4 titles with 3 separate franchises, snagging the Finals MVP award every single time.
Since right now, you are a 30-something playing like a 20-something. I know you're only contracted to be here with the Lakers for 3.5 more years, but it doesn't feel like that should be your last contract. if you played for just a year, more than that, with the way it looks like one and done is coming out of the NBA,
Oh, I see what
you
you're
could be
getting to.
playing
I see what you're getting
when
to.
your son, LeBron James Jr.,
Yeah,
could enter the league.
that would be phenomenal.
This is getting closer.
That would be
This is
phenomenal.
getting. This is literally. You would have to just do one more year after this contract.
James's reaction to that scenario spoke volumes. He clearly still has boxes to check. He said, I'm not going to put that kind of weight on his shoulders.
I'm not putting that pressure on him.
Same.
But I want him, if he continues, I believe, if he continues on the path that he's on now, he has a very, very good chance. And if I continue doing what I'm doing right now, I got a very good chance too, and we can meet.
So, where do we go from here? The trade deadline is approaching in early February 2026, and James is set to hit the market as an unrestricted free agent. Come June 30th, Golden State has made it obvious they want him, having chased him down for years. Meanwhile, it turns out the bond between James and the Lakers front office is way rockier than the public realized. Golden State's main goal is keeping their dynasty alive. Again, putting James's playmaking next to Curry's gravity would unleash an offensive attack completely foreign to NBA history. It injects championship DNA into a team trying to get back to the mountaintop, letting two all-timers solidify their standing side by side. However, the roadblocks are huge. You have the salary cap nightmare, the question of whether James would take a pay cut, and the harsh truth that at 41, even the GOAT is battling the clock. Yet, if James has taught us anything over his legendary run, it's that he thrives on proving people wrong and pulling off the impossible. One thing is guaranteed. Whatever move he makes will send shockwaves through the entire sport for decades. Whether he sticks with LA, goes home to Cleveland, teams up with Steph in the Bay, or hangs up his sneakers for good, this decision defines the endgame of the biggest sports career we've ever seen. We aren't watching the credits roll just yet. We're barely starting the prologue of a completely new era in league history. This fantasy scenario is very much alive, and the whole world is waiting on the edge of their seats. Don't go anywhere, because the next domino to fall could alter the game forever. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit those cards on your screen for more.